English Boost podcast from Speak English Journey.
Hello, everyone, and a very warm welcome back to Speak English Journey. I'm Lisa, and I'm absolutely thrilled to be here with you all today, ready to dive into another incredibly practical and engaging topic for your English language development.
And I'm Mike. It's truly wonderful to be back in your ears, sharing another exciting and, more importantly, applicable topic for your ongoing English learning adventure. Lisa, how are you doing today? Feeling hungry, perhaps?
I'm doing absolutely fantastic, Mike, and yes, I'm definitely feeling a bit peckish, especially because today's topic is something almost all of us universally enjoy and participate in, eating at a restaurant. It's such a rich environment for real-world English practice.
Absolutely. Dining out is a truly universal experience, isn't it? No matter where you are in the world, the act of eating at a restaurant transcends cultures. And because of that, there's just an incredible amount of useful English vocabulary, essential phrases, and practical sentences associated with it. From the very first step of making a reservation to the final moments of paying the bill and saying goodbye, a restaurant visit offers a ton of real-world English interaction and opportunities to practice.
Exactly. And that's precisely what we'll be diving deep into today. We'll meticulously cover some of the most important phrases, commonly used words, and essential sentences that you will undoubtedly use when you're dining out in an English-speaking environment. Our primary goal today is to equip each and every one of you, our dedicated listeners, with the confidence and the linguistic tools you need to smoothly and confidently navigate virtually any restaurant situation entirely in English.
Whether you're simply popping into a café to order a quick coffee, having a casual lunch with friends, or enjoying a formal, elegant three-course meal, mastering the nuances of restaurant English is incredibly useful and genuinely empowering. We'll be sharing a plethora of practical tips, offering relatable analogies, and providing professional insights gleaned from our years of teaching experience to help you not only sound more natural, but also understand what's truly going on around you in a bustling dining environment.
Let's embark on this culinary linguistic journey right from the very beginning. What's often the absolutely first step or consideration when you're planning to eat at a popular or even just a busy restaurant, particularly during peak hours?
That's an excellent starting point, Lisa. Often the very first and most crucial step is about making a reservation. You might pick up the phone or use an app and politely say, "Hi, I'd like to make a reservation for 2, please." Or if you have a specific time in mind, you could be more precise. "Do you have a table available for 2 at 7 p.m. this evening?"
And during that conversation, the restaurant staff on the other end of the line will almost certainly ask, "Under what name would that be?" or "How many are in your party?" It's important to clarify that party here isn't about a celebration, but simply refers to the total number of people in your dining group, right?
That's absolutely correct, Lisa. It's a very common piece of restaurant jargon. And if you're making the reservation over the phone, they might also politely ask for a contact number. This is usually just in case they need to reach you for any reason, perhaps if there's a slight delay or to confirm details. It's always a very good practice to politely confirm all the details, the time, the number of people, and the name before you politely hang up.
Okay, so you've successfully made your reservation perhaps a day or two in advance, and now the exciting moment has arrived. You've stepped inside the restaurant. What's the very first interaction you'll typically have as you walk through the door?
Usually, you'll be warmly greeted by a host or a hostess, sometimes known as a maitre d'. They will likely approach you and ask, "Do you have a reservation with us tonight?" Or, "How many are in your party today?" And your response can be straightforward and clear. "Yes, we have a reservation for Mike at 7 p.m. Or even simpler, "Table for 2, please," if you're just walking in without a booking.
Perfect. And then once they've confirmed your reservation or availability, they'll typically say, "Follow me, please," as they gracefully lead you to your designated table. Once you're comfortably seated, perhaps admiring the decor, what's usually the very next step in the dining process?
Getting the menu, of course. This is the moment you anticipate, full of demectious possibilities. Sometimes they'll bring the menus right over to your table almost immediately after you've sat down, or you might have to politely prompt them by asking, Could we see the menu, please? Or are there any specials tonight that aren't on the regular menu?
Ah, specials. That's a truly excellent and important phrase for our listeners to remember. These are typically unique dishes that aren't part of the restaurant's regular everyday menu. They are only available for that specific day or perhaps for a very limited time, depending on the availability of ingredients or the chef's inspiration. It's almost always worth inquiring about them, as they can offer a delightful surprise.
Definitely. Asking about the specials can lead you to discover some truly fantastic and unique culinary creations. And while you're carefully perusing the menu, perhaps discussing options with your dining companions, a waiter or waitress will often come over to inquire about drinks. They might casually ask, "Can I get you something to drink to start?" Or be a bit more formal. "Are you ready to order any beverages at this time?"
For drinks, the ordering process is usually quite straightforward. You might request a glass of water, a sparkling water, a soda, perhaps an iced tea, or, if you're inclined, a beer or a glass of wine. Keeping it simple and direct is often best here.
Once you've had sufficient time to carefully review the menu and decide on your food choices, it's finally time to order. Common and polite phrases you can use include, "I'll have the pasta, please," or "I'd like the grilled salmon with vegetables." To add an extra layer of politeness and sound even more natural, you can always include phrases like, "Could I get," or "I'll take," before your order.
And this is a critically important point, Mike. If you have any specific dietary restrictions, food sensitivities, or known allergies, this is absolutely the crucial time to mention them to your server. For instance, you could clearly state, "I'm allergic to peanuts," or "Does this particular dish contain any dairy products?"
Very, very important, Lisa. Never hesitate or be afraid to ask these questions. The restaurant staff, particularly the wait staff and even the kitchen, are there specifically to help ensure your dining experience is safe and enjoyable. You can also politely ask for recommendations if you're feeling indecisive or adventurous. What do you recommend from the main courses? Or what's a popular dish that most people enjoy here?
That's a truly excellent question to ask, especially if you're feeling a bit unsure about what to choose or if you're keen to try something new and popular. Once you've placed your order and the waiter has taken your menu, what typically happens next? Ah, yes, the famous wait-in game.
Right. While you're patiently waiting for your Maikanchia's food to be prepared and served, you might hear the waiter or waitress reassuringly say, "Your food will be out shortly," or "It'll be about 15 minutes for your order." Sometimes, if there's a delay, they might even offer an apology and an explanation.
And when the moment finally arrives and your food is placed before you, they'll often pleasantly say, "Here's your Lisa, enjoy," or simply, "Enjoy your meal." It's always a polite and customary gesture to respond with a warm thank you.
During the course of your meal, the waiter will likely check on you at least once, perhaps after you've had a few bites. They'll inquire, "How is everything tasting?" Or "Is everything to your liking so far?" You can simply and enthusiastically respond with, "It's absolutely Mike and Chias, thank you," or "Everything is great, thank you very much."
But what happens if, unfortunately, something isn't quite right with your order? Perhaps your steak is noticeably overcooked, or the soup is cold, or there's an ingredient you specifically asked to omit. What's the best way to handle that, politely but effectively?
It's absolutely okay to speak up, but always remember to do so politely and respectfully. You could calmly say, "Excuse me, I think my steak is a bit overcooked for my preference." Or, "Could I possibly get a different side dish instead of the mashed potatoes?" Most reputable restaurants are more than happy to promptly correct any issues and ensure your satisfaction.
Good point. Don't be shy about addressing a problem, but always maintain a polite and calm demeanor. Now, after you've savored your meal and perhaps enjoyed some delightful conversation, what's the inevitable next step in the dining experience?
The bill, of course. Or, as it's often called in North American English, the check. You can simply and clearly say, "Could we get the bill, please?" Or the more concise, "Check, please." It's worth noting that in some countries or establishments, they might just bring it over automatically once they see you finished. But in many others, especially in the US and Canada, You explicitly need to ask for it.
And you've highlighted an important point, Mike, about the interchangeable use of check and bill in English when referring to the restaurant payment. So, can I have the check is perfectly natural and understood. Once you have the bill in hand, what's the next decision to make?
You'll want to decide how you wish to pay. You might state, I'll pay with my credit card, or we'd like to split the bill between us. In many places, contactless payment or mobile payment options are also increasingly common.
Splitting the bill is an incredibly common request, especially when you're dining out with a group of friends or colleagues. You can be very specific.
Can we split it evenly between the four of us? Or could we pay separately, please?
They will usually have a system for this.
And finally, an important cultural note for many English-speaking countries. The custom and expected percentage for tips vary significantly by culture and country. However, in many places, particularly the United States, it's customary and expected to leave a tip for good service, usually around 15 to 20% of the total bill. If you're paying with cash, you might simply say, keep the change, if the extra amount generously covers the tip.
Or, if you're paying by credit or debit card, there's almost always a clear option on the payment terminal or the receipt to add the tip amount directly to the card payment. It's a widely accepted and appreciated way to show your gratitude and appreciation for the hard work and good service provided by your server.
So, we've truly covered the entire journey. From the initial thought of making a reservation, all the way through to the very last step of paying the bill and showing appreciation. It really is a complete and multifaceted interaction, isn't it? Full of opportunities to use English.
It truly is, Mike. And the absolute beauty of all these phrases and conversational elements is how incredibly practical and immediately applicable they are. These aren't theoretical constructs. These are real-world, everyday interactions. The more our listeners use them, the more natural and comfortable they will become with them.
That was an absolutely fantastic and thorough walkthrough of restaurant English, Lisa. We covered a significant amount of ground, and I'm genuinely confident that our listeners have picked up some incredibly useful and immediately applicable phrases.
I wholeheartedly agree, Mike. We've laid a solid foundation. And speaking of useful phrases and expanding our vocabulary, we're going to take a very brief interlude here. Just a moment for our listeners to absorb what we've discussed so far. When we come back, our highly knowledgeable and insightful vocabulary expert, Rose, will be joining us for a very special and dedicated segment.
Yes! Get ready for some fantastic linguistic insights! Rose will be meticulously breaking down some of the most key terms, nuanced expressions, and specific vocabulary items that we've discussed throughout today's episode. She'll be giving you even more precise ways to understand and expand your restaurant-related vocabulary. Trust us, you absolutely won't want to miss her invaluable insights and practical explanations.
Now, Mike, let's build even further on that foundation with some more specific and common real-life scenarios you might encounter. What about instances where you need to ask about the specific ingredients in a dish?
Great idea, Lisa. It's a common and important query. Sometimes you genuinely need to know more about what exactly is in a dish, perhaps for health reasons, personal preferences, or dietary restrictions. You could politely ask, what are the main ingredients in this sauce? Or, does this soup contain any nuts, as I have an allergy? As we mentioned earlier, this clarity is absolutely paramount for individuals with allergies.
And what if a diner wants to customize their order a little bit? This is quite common. For example, they might want to say, "Can I get the salad without the dressing, please?" on the side. Or, "Can I have the burger cooked well done, please, not medium?"
Excellent points, Lisa. Don't ever be afraid to make these small, reasonable requests. Most well-run restaurants are very accommodating and willing to adjust dishes to suit your preferences. You might also ask a question like, "Can I substitute the French fries for a side salad instead, please?"
Yes, the verb substitute is a very useful and precise word there. It means to exchange one item for another, often implying an equal trade or a minor adjustment. What about situations where you need something extra at your table, like more napkins, additional cutlery, or perhaps another glass of water?
These are the little things that frequently pop up in real-life dining situations. The request can be simple and direct. Could I get some more napkins, please? Or we need another fork, if you don't mind. Or if you accidentally drop something on the floor, you can politely say, "Excuse me, I seem to have dropped my fork. Could I possibly get a new one?"
These are indeed the practical, minute details that make a huge difference in having a smooth dining experience. And what if you walk into a restaurant that seems busy, and you need to know how long the anticipated wait is for a table?
You could approach the host or hostess and politely ask, "How long is the wait for a table for two this evening?" Or "What's the estimated waiting time for a party of four?" They will then typically respond with something like, "It'll be about 20 minutes. Or if you're lucky, "We can seat you right away. Please follow me."
What's the most appropriate and effective way to get your waiter's attention if the restaurant is particularly noisy or busy, without being rude or disruptive?
Politeness is absolutely key in this scenario. A simple, clear, "Excuse me," is usually sufficient and effective. You can also try to make direct eye contact with your server and perhaps raise your hands slightly, just enough to be noticed, but not in an attention-grabbing, aggressive way. Crucially, avoid shouting across the room, snapping your fingers, or waving your arms wildly. Those are generally considered impolite in most dining cultures.
Good advice, Mike. Always maintain politeness and respect, even in a bustling environment. Now, let's shift gears slightly. What about expressing compliments? If you genuinely enjoyed your meal and the service, how can you best convey that appreciation?
You can enthusiastically say, "This is absolutely delicious," or "Everything was truly wonderful, thank you so much." You can even specifically compliment a particular dish that stood out. "The pasta was simply amazing, best I've had in ages."
Or if you had an exceptionally positive experience and wish to convey your high praise to the management or directly to the culinary team, you could politely ask, "I'd like to speak to the manager for a moment, please. I'd like to compliment the chef and his staff on a truly wonderful meal."
It's always a lovely gesture to give positive feedback. Not only does it make the staff feel appreciated, but it also encourages them to maintain their high standards. Now, Lisa, what about the common scenario where you have some delicious leftovers from your meal?
Yes, the classic doggy bag or to-go box. This is very common, especially in countries like the United States. You can simply ask, "Could I get this to go?" Or "Could I have a doggy bag for this, please?" They will then usually bring you a sturdy container, sometimes even offering to pack it up for you.
To go is indeed a very common and widely understood phrase, especially in American English, specifically for taking food out of the restaurant after dining in. It's distinct from ordering food for takeout from the beginning, where you typically say, "I'd like to order this to go," when placing the initial order, implying you're not eating in.
Another good and important distinction for our listeners. And finally, before leaving the restaurant, what's a common, polite, and gracious phrase to say to the staff as you exit?
A simple but heartfelt, "Thank you for the excellent service tonight," or "We had a truly lovely meal, thank you very much for everything." It's a very nice and respectful way to conclude the entire dining experience, leaving a positive, lasting impression.
Absolutely. It genuinely shows appreciation and reinforces good service. So, we've genuinely covered a remarkably wide range of scenarios today. From the initial thought process of considering dining out to the very last moment you gracefully exit the restaurant doors.
And the absolute key takeaway for all of our dedicated listeners is this: do not be afraid or hesitant to use these phrases. Practice truly does make perfect. And the more you actively interact in English, in these real-world, everyday situations, the faster and more naturally your fluency will grow and develop.
Exactly. Don't get caught up worrying excessively about making minor mistakes. Everyone makes them, even native speakers sometimes. Instead, focus intensely on effectively communicating your needs, and most importantly, enjoying the experience of using English in a practical context.
Well, Lisa, this has been a truly comprehensive, insightful, and, I hope, incredibly helpful discussion about the multifaceted experience of eating at a restaurant. We've thoroughly covered everything from the initial steps of making reservations and confidently ordering your food to the final stages of paying the bill, leaving a tip, and giving well-deserved compliments.
It's been an absolute pleasure co-hosting this episode with you, Mike. I sincerely hope that our listeners now feel significantly more confident and well-prepared for their very next restaurant visit. whether it's in their home country or abroad. Remember our core advice. Actively practice these essential phrases, listen attentively to the English being spoken around you when you're out, and never be afraid to politely speak up to communicate your needs.
Absolutely. The more you Mike Barrettly immerse yourself in these real-life English-speaking situations, the better and more natural your communication will become. We encourage you to always revisit this episode whenever you need a refresher, and please don't forget to check out our dedicated website for additional valuable resources, including full transcripts of all our episodes.
That's right. You can conveniently find all the key vocabulary, the essential phrases, and the useful sentences we discussed in detail today readily available in the description. It's an excellent and convenient way to review the material and thoroughly reinforce everything you've learned.
Thank you so much for joining us on this insightful and practical episode of Speak English Journey. We truly and deeply appreciate your unwavering dedication and commitment to learning and mastering the English language.
Keep practicing diligently, keep speaking boldly, and we promise we'll be back very soon with another exciting, engaging, and highly practical topic to further assist you on your remarkable journey to English fluency.
Until next time, take excellent care of yourselves, and we wish you all happy and confident English learning.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye for now.